what are the market entry barriers into BRICS? What are the areas of cooperation and so on and so forth? And this is the nature of discussion that we try and have. Now, it's important to note, though, that a business forum where you have business people talking and feeding into the political process, this is now institutionalized within BRICS, and is now institutionalized within IBSA. So that's an important step, because when you look at IBSA and when you look at BRICS, what it essentially is a political construct. It's the politicians who decided they want it. It's primarily for geopolitical reasons. That's why these platforms exist. And what we're trying to do as business is fashion a way to use these to advance our interests. So that's really where the basis of the whole thing lies. So I'll sort of disagree with the statement that business is being sidelined steadily compared to last year. This whole thing was never about business. And we're now working to make sure we institutionalize the business part of it. Because as you said, governments don't trade, it's us who trade. And we need to make sure our voices are heard there. So I explained this before, but I'm not shy to say it again. It's an ongoing process. We're still learning and planning how we do things, how we improve things, and so on. So that's a very broad overview of what our strategy is. Now here's what we're trying to do. One of the main criticisms has been that you have a summit, you have a set of issues discussed, you have a set of issues that are brought to the attention of ministers and heads of state, and then what happens? So the main thing is we need to work, I think, more intelligently and in a more structured way between summits. So I'll talk very briefly about the issues we've brought across, but the main thing is after we've brought them to the forefront in this summit, what are we going to be doing afterwards? And now everybody sort of gets it, that the bulk of the work will be done between summits. And we're trying to create the institutions within business where a lot of these things can happen and can keep happening. But I'll explain what they are in a second. Secondly, what also started off in BRICS was, it's a platform where we pat each other on the backs, where we say we want to agree on this, we want to cooperate, we want to work together on X, Y, Z. But as a business person, cooperation is nice, what you want is business. So what we've now moved towards doing is we need to use this as a way of promoting South African strengths. What are we trying to get out of BRICS, and what are the obstacles to it, and what can we do about it? So I'll give an example. When you look at the South African economy and you compare it with the other BRICS economies, what you have is you have South Africa as a smaller, fairly open, fairly straightforward economy with clear rules, clear regulations, and with low tariffs. When you look at the other BRICS countries, you get things like high tariffs, you get extreme and cumbersome licensing requirements, you get basically shutting out of foreign business in certain sectors, such as retail in India. And you get a whole range of problems. So what do we need to strive for as South Africa? Because if we ask for something, we're expected to give something back. And we have to plan this smartly so that we push forward our agenda in a smart way. So one of the things we try to say is, let's have more clarity on what our trade regimes are. For example, a lot of our people in South Africa exporting to India, I keep harping on India, have no idea what tariff they're going to face because their rules and their regulations on tariffs are not clear. And they don't have a tariff book that's in a set place where you can find it and look for current information. So the key focus, or one of the key focuses from us, was we need to see what your tariff rates are. We need to have this in English. We need to have them current, and we need to have them readily available. Now, if we put enough pressure for this to happen, South Africa will benefit the most because our rules are clear already, and the other countries will hopefully get some pressure to comply. So that's one example. Another example is when you look at retail and banking and other services industries, South Africa is quite open. I think, believe it or not, with few exceptions, we're very open. If you look at the other BRICS countries, they're not. So we push forward the view that we need to relax ownership and licensing requirements for other BRICS countries, or intra-BRICS licensing requirements. Now this, we present to a group of business people from BRICS, and we agree on it thinking, yeah, it's an excellent idea, and we send it upwards to the politicians. But if that is implemented, the main beneficiary is South Africa, because we are open already, the others are not. So the business people don't necessarily know that from the other BRICS countries. So that's the message we put across, and that's what we try and get out of it.